Robbo, what's his aim here? What's his play here? Because to me, it seems like he's setting the table for a defeat.
As we've spoken about many, many times, he's completely, in my view, lost the plot in terms of how to deal with the press, how to deal with the pressure. He's making every excuse he can possibly give at the moment. And I saw it many, many years ago, and I'm going to mention his name again, Arsene Wenger, in a similar sort of situation when they had 4 or 5 defeats, and he then went into the press and said, we're the most fouled team in the Premier League. And the press said to him, actually, you're not. You're the 8th most fouled team in the Premier League. He kept on saying, no, we're the most fouled team. And if you're going to say things in the press, you've got to get your facts right. And if he doesn't get his facts right, he's going to come for criticism, Klopp. And he hasn't got his facts right, as Craig quite rightly said. And Craig should be a lawyer, shouldn't he, after that little demonstration?
Craig, 10-point gap if Liverpool were to lose. Does this make it a must-win?
Yes, I think so. City could take a draw. It's not ideal for them, but they could take a draw. But with the game in hand they've got, then I think Liverpool need to get some momentum going. Look, you said what's his aim in this rhetoric. I don't think he has an aim. I don't think he's playing a game. I think he believes it. I think he's believed it from pretty much the start of the season when the Van Dijk injury came along, which was dreadfully handled by the officials. We accept that. And it's sort of steamrolled from there with all the problems that they've had. But then he's brought on himself this belief in his own mind, and he's perpetuated it to his players, that the broadcasters were against him, that the league were hedging against him. Now it's the teams with COVID and the problems they've had with COVID. And listen, City have had self-inflicted COVID issues. There's no doubt about that. It's been well documented. But they've also had issues, COVID issues like others, that have come about through no fault of their own. And one of those players is Sergio Aguero, who's been out most of the season. So I think in his own mind, Klopp believes what he's saying. Maybe some of it is tongue-in-cheek, but I think the majority, he actually thinks everyone's been against him this year. Certainly they haven't had a great deal of luck in terms of the injuries. There's no doubt about that. And as I said a couple of days ago on the show, there's no disgrace in not playing well when you're having to play so many players out of position. And I'm talking about the midfielders going back and playing in centre-half. There's no shame in not being in the title race this year if they lose or if they're in poor form like they have been. Because their injuries, the one thing that he can back up is to say, we've had a really bad season with injuries. That they have done. But the rest of it, Sebi, is just an utter nonsense. And listen, he's pretty much he doesn't need to do this. He's got pretty much a free pass with what he's delivered for that club over the last couple of years. He doesn't need to go down this road that's making him look a little bit like a crybaby in the circumstances.
Craig mentions the injuries. Let's talk centre half. Is this the weekend for Kabak, for Davies? This is why you brought him in, right?
Well, you sign players to, because of your injuries, you need bodies. Right. Listen, Ben Davies, as good as he may be in the Championship, is not ready to step into the Premier League after a couple of days and play against Manchester City. And I would suggest that Kabak isn't either. Schalke are last in the Bundesliga. Defensively, they're horrendous.
Well, why'd they bring these guys in then?
Because they need bodies. You've got two central midfielders playing centre-back. You have to do something. You have to get bodies in. Because right now, because the two centre midfielders are playing centre-back, it's killing you going forward. So you have to make a decision. You either keep the two centre-backs where they are, the centre midfielders, and you don't sign anybody, or you take a gamble. And that's what they've done. They've taken a gamble. I would suggest, however, you don't play them after 2 days of training when they don't probably even know the players' names.
Alisson a doubt, Fabinho a doubt, Mane a doubt. So Liverpool issues maybe stacking up there. Robbo, how do you see this one playing out?
Well, I would go against Stevie. I'd say he has to play one of them at least to try and get one or two of those midfield players back into that central area. Because whenever Liverpool have beaten Manchester City, and they've got away with some dubious tackles as well, particularly at Anfield, it's been when the crowd have been baying for blood. Obviously, that's not going to happen. And Liverpool's midfield have been tight. They've got tackles in. They've won back possession high up the field. They've run all over the park. In the midfield they've got at the moment, without Henderson in there, they can't do that. So I see Manchester City dominating possession, running the game and winning the game quite comfortably. But if he can put one or two of those midfield players back in there and make it a real battle and a real fight, they've got half a chance.
Craig, who are you taking on Sunday?
Well, I'm with Robbo here in a sense that I don't know that it will happen, but if Fabinho's fit and he goes back in there, it's likelihood is it will be the young boy Davies from Preston North End, the left footer. But you're damned if you do, if you're damned if you don't here, because you put somebody who has championship experience in only, certainly recently, and you put him in against this City side. I mean, this City side have been, pulling teams up. They haven't been scoring the goals, as Stevie pointed out in the show a couple of days ago, but they've still been pulling sides from pillar to post. And that it is a big call to try and stiffen up your midfield to potentially put one of those players in. And that's going to come down to the management. But listen, I think the way it's gone at the moment, if City continue to play and defend the way they have been, I could see them just picking up another victory. I think it'll end Liverpool's quest to even have a sniff at the title, and their fight will be for the top four. That's where the form would suggest it is. And I think it would continue City on as the favourites for this Premier League title, unless Liverpool can come up with something that ruffles the defence of the feathers of this defence that have been excellent. 13 games unbeaten, umpteen clean sheets. They've been rock solid.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.